while his physical eyes was open, his heart was also open. He was transformed and was able to stand up for the Lord, stand up for the cause of Christ, and he didn't mind what it was or what was coming to him, but all he knew, the God that he served, the God that healed him, was not an ordinary man. It was God himself. So as I look at that lesson, I entitled it, The Man That Saw Double. The man that saw double. He did not only see physically, but he saw spiritually. In fact, he was able to stand up with people that said they knew God for a long time. People that was teachers, the rabbis, and etc. That blind man that was blind from birth, he was able to stand up with them and told them, we have never seen it before, that anybody healed anybody from the blindness. He had to be a special man from God, or he had to be Jesus. He had to be God himself. And he said he was no more blind, and he was not in darkness or lost in sin, because he found the truth. Before we get into chapter 9 and verse 21, I want us to look at John chapter 14, verse 6 to 7. John 14, 6 and 7. In the mic close to you, you read. If not, and I will read if you haven't got a mic close to you, whoever want to read it. John chapter 14, verse 6 and 7. We're looking at John chapter 6.
Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No man cometh but to the Father but by me. If ye had known me, you should have known my Father also. And from henceforth you know him and have seen him.
Okay. Now, that is just a reference concerning the lesson that we're going to teach this morning. Now, what we saw there in John chapter 14, verse 9, 6 and 7, that had to do with Jesus and his disciples. And I think that in the video it was Philip. Philip was looking for the Father. He did not see the Father in Jesus, and Jesus in the Father. With all the time he walked with Jesus and listened to the words that Jesus spoke, but yet he did not understand who Jesus really was. That's where we go in this morning, in chapter 9 and verse 21, where people that claim to know God didn't know who his son was. John chapter 9, let's look at that. John 9 and verse 21. John 9:21. Get it, Mike. Get it. Yeah.
I'll read it. 9:21. John 9:21. By what means he now seeth, we know not. Or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak for himself.
Okay. But if we could get a mic in the congregation, Brother Craig, I'd be glad that if somebody want to read that, he can get the opportunity.
Was helping me.
Yeah, he can get the opportunity to read, they will read it.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Okay, that if somebody want to read, that they would get the opportunity to read it.
9:21.
Yeah, he read it already. Now, what we heard there, that is from the blind man's parents. But by what means he now seeth, we know not. Or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak for himself. What do we get from what we have just read, or what is on the board? What do we pick up from that? Do we have any comments concerning there? Now,
His parents didn't want to have anything to do with it.
sorry?
His parents didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Okay. They back down. That's right. Now, according to what we saw, you think that was right? According to what they did?
It wasn't right, but they were scared
Okay.
because the Jews would kick you out of the church.
Now, we as believers, let's put ourselves in the place of those parents. What would we do, or what would you do if you come across a case like that? Because it is common in our world. Anybody? Now, just ask for the mic.
Thank you. It says, but by what means he now seeth, we know not, or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him. He shall speak for himself.
Okay.
Amen.
Now, Brother Pastor Bray, because you took the mic, you're going to answer the question that I ask. You understand the question I ask?
Yeah,
I know, but he heard it, but he saw it on the board.
yeah.
He might hear me. Don't worry. God is a God of miracle. Now, the question I ask, you, in the case of that blind man parents, what would you do? Would you defend your son? Or would you say something else? Or what would you do? Would you back down like them? He didn't get me. You understand that? You asked the question, did you hear the question that I asked?
No.
Okay, then give the mic to somebody else. Let him answer it. He didn't
What
get
was
that.
the question you asked?
The question I asked, if you was in those people's case, according to what happened to that blind man and the people that attacked him, what would you do? What would you tell them?
Oh, I have to admit, I don't know.
He still didn't get, probably I didn't explain properly. Okay, good for him then. Anybody
Well,
else?
22 it answers your question, verse 22. So,
Sorry?
I said verse 22 answers your question.
No, it has not answered the question.
You asked what will.
What I had the question I asked, what would you
What would
do?
the parents do?
No, that if you was in the parents' case,
Right.
what would
you do?
That's the question I asked.
Right. And as a parent, you would think you would defend your son.
That's right. But then they let it go for him.
Pull your mic back from your mouth. There.
They let go the case for him.
Yeah, because they say he was of age.
They said he's of age, he can speak for himself.
So, correct.
Okay. Would you say the same thing like them? Or do the same thing like them? Or would you say something else? So Brother Krieger is going to say the same thing.
If you were the parent, what would you do?
Well, in this age right now, I would probably defend them. But like you say, back then, with the threat of something happening to them, would you? But as a parent, you would want to defend the child. But the threat of being killed or hurt because you defend them is the hard part. Is where your faith and belief, I'm assuming, would have to come in.
Okay. That's father and son, right?
Correct.
Father and sons.
Correct.
Father, what would you do, Father?
I would defend my son under any conditions.
How would you defend
The way
him?
I think today. I'm not sure at that particular age and time what my thoughts would be or how the world itself was operating. See, conditions are so much different today than they were in biblical times.
Okay. And that's why we ask questions, because we over the air, And with those questions that I ask, or what we have just read, it is not only here in this congregation. It goes out, right? And we ask those questions that people out there that hear us, they themselves can awake and be alert. And what they would say. Now, according to what is happening right now, there can be another church right out there on what we just said. One could ask the other, what would you do if you was in the parent's place? As I said, I would probably try to defend my son. But again, I saw something there, according to what you have just said. He was of age. And that's the main thing here. He was of age and probably would not be happy for you to defend him. Right? Probably he would say to his mind, though I am blind and now I can see, let me speak for myself.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's the answer. That's the answer. It is good to defend your son, even though he's an adult. But adults think different to the teenagers.
They didn't know the answer anyway. The Pharisees won. They didn't know the answer. Only Jesus knew the answer.
That's right. Not only that, but right there in that lesson, we see where Jesus is at work. Jesus is at work right there in that lesson. In that verse, in that chapter, Jesus is at work. And we will prove that as we move down a little lower. I'm not sure if we're going to reach there this morning or if we're already there. But Jesus was at work right there in chapter 9. Even when he healed that blind man. Let's look at verse 22. Yes, please. Read verse 22.
You want to read?
I guess these words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue.
Okay. He should be put out from the synagogue. In other words, they had decided to shut up everybody. Keep silence. Don't alarm who this man is. Don't let them know that a stranger is in town that decide to heal blind people and to heal everybody else that is sick. Keep your mouth closed, or else you'll be out of my synagogue. You'll be out of my church. You'll be out of my assembly. You'll be out of my crowd. You will not participate in anything if you ever speak or say who Jesus is. That's what the verse was saying. keep your mouth shut and don't talk, because we have already decided what we will do. Isn't that going on in this world today? Are we not right there? We are right here, even right here in America, we are right here.
Yes.
If you cannot say what I want you to say, shut up. Isn't that going on right now?
Yes, it is.
If you do not do what I want you to do, you better know what you're about to do, because I'll get you. And that's what happening today. We better be careful. We that can pray, we better pray and pray good, or else we'll be in trouble. Don't have one foot in and one foot out. It's either keep your both legs outside or your both legs inside, or else one will be gone. Let's look at verse 23. Oh, let me read it. Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. That's what I just probably paraphrase that. He's of age, ask him. And verse 24, he's of age, ask him. 24, then again called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. That's the main verse. He's of age. But he said, again, called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. In fact, we observe that he tried to put words in his mouth. What have already sown in his heart, when the Lord touched him and sent him to the pool, they tried to take it out. What he had in mind to confess, they tried to remove it automatically, that he would not confess what happened to him. Or if he had idea of the person that take care of him was a godly man, they tried to make him think differently. Isn't that true?
Yes.
They tried to make him think differently. Let's put ourselves in the place of that blind man that was blind from birth and longing to see. And one day someone pop up, spit on the ground, take that clay and anoint him, his eyes, and tell him go wash. He obeyed, whether he had to drug to get there, struggle to get there, roll to get there, or somebody would have brought him there, but he got there anyway. He did not hesitate to go into that pool. He went there and he came back seeing. And that's where action starts, right? Because that man was there for a purpose from birth. He had to be a minister for God. He had to be one that is reserved for such a time like this. It takes long before that happened. But the day when it happened, the enemy tried to stop it from happening. Church, we as believers have to look around and see what is going on around us. And look at people around us that are hurting. Some people are blind. Some people are deaf. Some people are crippled. And all sort of malady in this world. Sometimes we look at those people and sometimes we as believers even say, your parents probably did bad. That's why you're there. You yourself probably did bad or take so much drugs that you get blind or you get deaf or you get stupid. That's why you are there. And we come up with a lot of comments and a lot of conclusion by ourselves, not knowing why that individuals are there. If they can walk, they would come up to you and ask you for a dime or ask you for something to buy a bread. And you would say to yourself, okay, Dad, you're young, or bad you do, why you asking me for my money now? I work hard for it. And I'm talking about typical human being, how we can behave, you know, when we see situations like these. But as the Lord have us to look at that lesson, I would love us to change our mind. And not only that, those that are under my voice. It is not always the way that we see it. It can be different. You know, it can be different. It's not always the way we see it. It's the way it is. It can be for a reason. We look at earlier on when they asked that question concerning that blind man. Who sinned, he or his parents? Remember what Jesus told them? That man was blind or born blind for a purpose. God caused that to happen to him, that God may be glorified. Right?
Right.
So nobody sinned. Not him, nor his parents. But the Lord God caused it. He became a victim, right? In order for God to get the glory. The Lord allowed it. The Lord, I still wouldn't say the Lord allowed it. I would say the Lord caused it. Because the devil didn't have no part in that.
I think the original sin in the garden caused.
Many times, we have to be careful sometimes. Everything we see, the devil didn't have hand in it. Sometimes God have hands in it. God allow it or God cause it. When it comes to Job, the Lord allow it. Or he permit it. Sometimes you look at those words and look at how we should really use the term. Because there are certain things the devil asks God for. Like Job. He asked God for him to afflict Job. And Job, the Lord told him, go ahead, but do not kill him. Do not kill him. You can go ahead, but reach just far. This one, God allowed that one. But concerning that blind man, I can't say the devil had part in it. The Lord caused that one in order for man to glorify him, for man to know who he is. So sometimes we have to look at that and don't give that devil no praise, make him feel too good. Right. Because the thing we have going on for a long time saying the devil's hell. The devil have got no hell. For a long time we've been saying the devil's hell. The devil haven't got no hell. Hell was built for the devil. Don't make him feel good. That was a cell or a prison cell that was built for him. Yeah. He didn't build it. He would never build it for him. Right. But it was built for him. But what he's doing is trying to recruit people to get to go with him in it. And people fall in for that. We have to get wise. When we study God's word, we'll study more and learn more. And expose the enemy. But when you begin to do that, make sure you stop playing and pray. Because he don't like you for that. He can't do everything. If we do check sometimes, we can do even more than the devil. Because the Lord has given us the permission and the power. But you know what happened? From the time man doubted God in the Garden of Eden, that's where trouble starts. Man had that dominion power to do great things. But when God told Adam, eat from every fruit from the garden, but from that one, do not even touch it, nor eat it, because from the day you eat it, you shall surely die. And from the time they disobey God, or the wife eat and bring for husband, and they were so much in love that they both eat together, or eat one after the other. That's what happened. Sometimes I speak that way, and women don't like me for saying that. You know? And sometimes I speak that way, men don't like me for saying that. But I believe in my heart, one eat before the other. Right. And the other one did not want to eat. No, he didn't want to eat. He could say, you get your stuff, you eat your stuff, you die alone. That could happen. But they were in love. And one did not want to go down without the other. Or one did not want to be wiser than the other. Because from that day she ate that fruit, her eyes open. Adam's eyes did not open yet until he ate. Do we get that? Who believe me in saying that? When she ate in that garden, because right there when the serpent tell her, if you eat, you'll get wise just like God. And you'll know all things, because your eyes will be open. You'll know good and bad. But all they knew was good. They did not know bad. They did not know that they were naked while they were naked, because they were in a state of innocency. From the time they ate that fruit, their eyes opened. And that's why they say he lied to me. He didn't tell me what would happen to me. But they never say that Satan really lied to them. Satan didn't tell them that they would die, because they didn't die first yet. Because they first died spiritually before they died physically. That's why there are two deaths, and we have to be able to explain them to the world. There are two deaths, a physical death and a spiritual death. And man was dead spiritually before he died physically. It starts from Adam and goes down to us. That's why when anybody died, was born after Adam, because Adam was not born, he was created. He was the only man that was created, and he was good, somewhat perfect. Sorry, but from the day he ate that fruit, his eyes was open. He was able to know good and evil. Sorry? Okay, I think we'll stop there. Yeah, because we just half of the lesson, but then we'll take it up next week when I spared it. You know, it's so sweet. Sometimes we just feel like going. Sometimes we just feel like going. Actually, to be honest, I can go whole day and not stop because it is good. So let's stop there. And next week we'll take it up from there. Next, where we stop? We stop on 24 next.